Hello everyone. Today I would like to explain you the topic types of communication. Before moving to types of communication, I would like to briefly explain you about the communication network. In the organizational context, a network is a structured fabric of the organization made up of system of lines or channels which are interconnected. So this is a network which is made by the organization through which the communication can flow. So this network helps to determine the speed, accuracy and smoothness with which the message flow throughout the organization. So this is divided into 5 types: single chain network, circular chain network, wheel chain network, free flow chain network and inverted V chain network. The first one is single chain network. So in this the message flows in direct vertical line along the scalar chain of command. As you can see in the diagram, the communication flows from A, B, C, D, E. So there is no horizontal communication in chain of network and it is found in bureaucratic organization. Second type, circular chain network. In case of circular, the message moves in a circle, that is A, B, C, D, E, and A has his two neighbor colleagues, that is E and B, to whom he can communicate. Next, third one, wheel chain network. The wheel network represents the communication pattern under which the subordinate can communicate with and through one managers. For example, if we take A as the manager, then he can communicate instructions to B, C, D, E, and these B, C, D, E cannot communicate with each other. So there is a problem of coordination. Fourth one, free flow network. Here there is no restriction on flow of communication, that is A can communicate with any of the other employee in the organization. In this the flow of communication is fast but problem of coordination exists. There is this is followed in free flow form of organization. Fifth one, inverted V network. In this network, an individual is allowed to communicate with his immediate superior as well as superior. For example, if we take C and D as the employee, they can communicate with B, that is their superior, or they can also communicate with their superior, that is A. So in this, communication travels faster. So these are the types of communication network which can be adopted by the organization. Now let's move on to the main topic, that is types of communication. This is broadly classified into 3 main categories which are then subdivided into different types. In the first one, channels of communication, which is subdivided into formal and informal. Then the second category, direction of communication, which is subdivided into downward, upward and horizontal. Third one is method of expression, that is subdivided into oral, written, gestural. So let's see the first category, channels of communication. A channel of communication is a path through which information flows throughout the organization. So this helps to determine in the organization which type of communication must flow in the organization. That is both formal and informal communication. Let's see the meaning of formal communication. Formal communication, the path of communication which are officially determined by the management. So this type of communication is determined by the management and it must be followed as per the management's rules. So in this it helps to associate with the status and position of the communicator and the receiver. And there is a relationship between the different positions. So as the position or the status is important for this communication, it helps for differentiating the relationship between different positions. It generally adopts 3 directions, that is upward, downward, horizontal. The important requirement of formal communication are, so these are the important requirements for to be made as a formal communication. Determining the information to be communicated and to whom. So the organization must always may appoint one person from whom the communication must be communicated and to whom, and transmitting information accurately and at appropriate time. So that person must transmit the information accurately and at appropriate time. Processing and interpreting data before giving feedback. So the person who receives must interpret the data and then give the feedback. Maintaining records of information till required. So whenever the communication is flowed through in the formal communication, then it must have a record of it. So this is the type of formal communication, meaning and its features. Next, let's move to informal communication. This is also called as grapevine communication, as this is not an official action communication. It is made by the operation of social workforces at the workplace. So this is done by when the employees are unable to communicate the required information to higher authorities because of communication barrier that is found in formal communication, and then they may resort to informal communication. So this has certain features, that is, it represents natural desire of the people in the organization. So whenever the people want desire to communicate their opinion, then they represent it through this informal communication. Grapevine works with surprising speed than official chains. So this communication helps the information to spread widely than the official chain. This network offers the manager insight into what the subordinates think and feel. So whenever the manager communicates some information, he can instantly get the feedback from the employee about what they feel. Next one is, it is useful for disseminating certain information which in general interest of the organization could not be transmitted through official chains. So some of the information cannot be passed through informal chains. So managers can go adopt these informal communication to spread those messages. Informal communication has certain merits. So that is, it helps in achieving better human relation in the organization. Second one, it links even those people who do not fall in the official chains of command. Third one, its speed is very fast as it's free from all barriers. Fourth one, it serves it to fill the possible gaps in the formal communication. Last one, it provides the worker an outlet to freely express their fears and views and thoughts. So these are the merits of informal communication. So now let's move on to the demerits. It is not authentic. Authentic means true sense. So the communication whichever flows in informal communication is not always true. It is oral in nature, so that it leads to rumors, that is fake news. It may not always be active. It may lead to leakage of confidential information. So these are the demerits of informal communications. Next, let's see the formal communication versus informal communication, that is the difference between both of them. So formal communication is based on formal organizational relationship, whereas informal communication is based on formal relationships. Sorry, it is not based on formal relationship, it is free from formalities. Next, second difference is, formal communication channels are pre-planned, but informal communication are not pre-planned. Formal communication is as its own path laid down by the management. So it has its path laid down by the management, but the informal communication, it is very fast and it is not supposed to follow any path. Formal communication is rigid, that as it is done by the management, but informal communication, it is flexible. In formal communication, chances of distortion of misinformation are very low, that is misrepresenting those information. But in informal communication, chances of distortion of information are very high. For the next, informal communication, in this status or position of parties are very important. In this, status or position of the parties has no relevance, that is in informal communication. Formal communication is authentic, that is, it is always in true sense. But informal communication, it is not always in true sense, or it may not be authentic. So these are the differences between formal communication and informal communication. Rumor. So this word rumor arises always in the informal communication. You can say that this is the main demerit of the informal communication. So what is the meaning of rumor? It is a grapevine information which is communicated without any standard of evidence being present. It is injudicious and untrue part of organization. So this is always untrue part which is spread by the employees in the organization. Depending upon the interest, each person subtracts or adds something to the original message through the process of elaboration and assimilation. So employees tend to add or subtract some of the information to make it rumors. Dealing with rumors. So organization, whenever the rumor starts to spread, they must always deal it with these following steps. First one, reduction of causes. That is, best way to control the rumor is to get its cause rather than trying to stop it after it has already started. So once a rumor is started, the organization must always see what is the cause of that spreading of rumor. Second, they should listen to those rumors. So the regardless of what rumor it is, the organization must carefully listen to those rumors, because most of the time it may be the feelings of employee or his attitude which is being spread by the employees. Third one, providing facts. So as soon as the rumor starts to spread, the organization must always find what is the cause of those rumors, and if there is true facts about those, they must release it immediately. Next, fourth one, use of reliable sources. So the organization must always use a person who is trusted by the employee as a source for making those rumors false. Or they can also use trade union. The management take help of the employee leaders to make those rumors false, because employees tend to have more trust on the union leaders rather than other people. So by this ways, organization can deal with the rumors and make it untrue in the organization, and make belief in the employees' mind that the organization is going on well. So next, directions of communication. So direction of communication is the second category of types of communication. So in this, it is broadly classified into downward, upward, and horizontal communication. So let's see the first type of communication. Downward communication. It represents the flow of information from top level to the lower level. In this, mainly the downward communication is used to communicate policies, procedures, programs, and objectives to issue orders and instruction to the subordinates. So for downward communication is needed to get things done, to achieve the organizational goals, to prepare for changes if there is any changes in the rules, to discourage misinformation and suspicion. So if any rumor starts spreading, then they can use downward communication to discourage those misinformation, to let people feel the pride of being well informed. So with the help of this diagram, you can understand that downward communication flows from managing director to general manager, and then to sectional managers, then superiors, and then the staff and workers. So now let's move on to the second type, that is upward communication. Feedback of the higher authorities by the lower levels in vertical upward communication. So in this the communication flows from the lower level to the top level. So examples of upward communication are activity reports on subjects like raw materials, production, distributions, etc. Or maybe opinions, ideas, and suggestions. Or it can be complaints and grievances. So this is needed to create receptiveness of communication, to create a feeling of belongingness through participation, to evaluate communication, to demonstrate a concern for the ideas of each employee. So this can be better explained with the help of a diagram. So as you can see, this is a upward communication of a production department. So worker will communicate to the production supervisor, then the supervisor will communicate to the assistant production manager, then he will communicate it to the production managers. So most of the time it is about the reports of what the work has been done in that departments. So this is about upward communication. Let's move to the next type, that is horizontal communication. It refers to transmission of information among the same position level. So this is weakened due to three reasons, that is large specialization, opportunities of crosstalks are cut down in relative terms. Horizontal communication is more an informal nature. So this can be better explained with the help of a diagram. So in this, purchase manager can speak with the production manager, or purchase manager can also ask guidance from the quality manager. So in these four types of manager can communicate with each other for any type of ideas, advices, or reports. So next, let's move on to the third based category of types of communication, that is method of expression, which is then classified into three types, that is oral communication, written communication, gestural communication. In that first type, oral communication. So oral communication is nothing but it is communicated with the help of spoken words. It may take place face to face or through mechanical devices like phones and mobiles, etc. Face to face communication is the most natural way of transmitting message. So oral communication is mostly made face to face in an organization. So merits of this oral communication is easy communication. So it is one of the easiest way of communicating because it saves time and cost involved in decoding the ideas once communicated. Second one is effective. Oral communication is effective system because it is face to face and the words are passed in true sense and with the true emotions. Instant feedbacks. So whenever the information is communicated, the receiver will give an instant feedback about those information. Fourth one, facility for informal communication. So oral communication always facilitates for informal communication in the organization. So these are the merits of oral communication. Demerits. So there is certain demerits of oral communication, that is lack of proof. So as it is communicated face to face, there is no proof that what has been communicated. Second is lack of authenticity. So there may any information communicated cannot be always true. So that may be also false. And third one is time consuming. So it takes very much time for for both the parties to communicate and know what the actual subject matter of the information is. So these are the demerits of oral communication. So next let's move on to the second type, written communication. Written communication is the form of the letters, notes, manuals, house magazines, etc. So in this communication is passed on with the help of writings. So this is helpful for the formal communication also. So with the invention of internet nowadays, written communication can be passed on to distant places within a fraction of minutes. And so this also has certain merits. That is, first is authenticity. So always in written communication, it is always believed that it is in the true sense. So it is always believed by all the people. Second one is proof for future reference. So as it is written, it is can be kept as a future reference for any type of problem arising in future. Third one, communication to distant places. So with the help of invention of internet, etc., so nowadays the information can be passed on to far places very easily. So written communication helps in this, communicating it to the far places. Written communication is also has certain demerits, that is it's costly. So drafting a written communication is costly because always the words must be expressed in true sense. If a communicator may use certain words but it may mean different to the receiver, so drafting the communication in written form is very costly. Second one, overemphasis of formalization. That is why some degree of formalization is essential, but it sometimes overemphasizes hampers efficiency. Third one is lack of secrecy. That is, nowadays cyber crimes are very high, so which is tough to keep every document secret in written form. So these are the types of demerits in written communication. Next is difference between oral communication and written communication. So oral communication is expressed through spoken words, whereas written is expressed in writing. Second, it may not be precise. That is, oral communication is not always precise, but written communication is very precise. Third one is, oral communication may not be complete. That is, it may be tough to understand, but written communication is not difficult to understand. Oral communication is generally informal in nature, but written communication is always known to be formal. Oral communication is not taken seriously, but in written communication is taken seriously. Oral communication may not be verifiable, that is, it does not have proof. But whereas written communication always is verifiable as it is maintained with records. So last type of communication is gestural. So communication through gestures or posture is often used as means of supplement of verbal communication. So gestural communication is where there is no use of oral or written, and it is done through facial expressions or through hand gestures. For example, handshake between the two organizational people is also an example for gestural communication. It may also include pictures, graphs, charts, diagrams, etc. So these are the types of gestural communication which can be used: thumbs up, thumbs down, handshake, pointing out, etc. Choice of method of communication. So this can be also a conclusion for all the types of communication. That is after learning about these many types of communication, in practice the organization use three method of expressions, that is oral, written and gestural, for various circumstances in the organization. For example, oral communication is used effectively in the following situation. So executives use the oral communication in instructing and counseling their subordinates. Executives use oral communication while dealing with trade union leaders. Third one is workers use oral communication to convey their grievances and suggestions to the management. Workers use oral communication to give feedback to the management. So these four things can be done using oral communication very easily. For executives, it is helpful for transmitting the rules and regulation to their subordinates, and while workers can use for expressing their feedback or any complaints in the organization. And also these same organization can implement written communication in the following situations. That is, when executive give written instruction where the assignment is important, it serves the purpose of a record of future reference. Worker and trade unions make use of written communication to communicate with the management formally and to get an official response from the management. So written communication helps the executive to keep instructions in written form, so that the subordinates can view this written communication whenever they require, and workers can also opt in written communication to write anything formally and get a response from the management. So these are the types of communications in an organization which is helpful for the organization in practice. So I would like to conclude that communication is very important for all types of organization, and not only organization but in everyday life. So I hope that this video is helpful for you to understand types of communication. Thank you.